message that I record this.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go. Thank you for your time and for this interview with Rockportaal. I believe it's the first interview with Rockportaal, so yeah, happy.
Yes, I've had many of these before, but now I have like, really many.
Yes.
It's lovely to see people
Okay.
around the world.
Yes. So how you're doing these strange COVID-19 times? Are you more busy or is it a bit quiet for you now?
It has been a crazy, crazy spring in many ways. Actually, it was the first. I was really anxious and a bit scared, and we stayed at home, and we didn't meet anyone. We avoided other people and stayed at home. And I ran through the grocery store like holding my breath, and, and it was like it was really scary situation. But I'm glad that Finland was really, you know, cautious, and we got these restrictions quite soon. And at the moment, everything is opening up again, and we only have few of these situations at the moment, and it looks like it's stable, the situation. But for me, besides the virus situation, it has been crazy because of this album release. It was getting closer and closer, and we did the crowdfunding, and also then after that, when it ended, we started, you know, making the perks. And because we do everything on our own, mostly I do. So it has been like really, really hectic spring, and now that it has been more than I expected actually. So like 500 to 600 physical perks leaving my house. I've been packing from morning to late evening, and so that everything was shipped in time. So that's just a picture, but it has been. But now, of course, there's a lot of interviews and everything, and yeah. But I'm happy. This is what I want to do.
Okay, I would mention that now the fun part starts, I guess.
Yes, when you have been working, and you know that I always want to do a little extra for our crowdfunders, and that's why it's more work than just shipping. But that's what I want to do and how I want to do it. So it's always fun to give presents. So at least it feels like that. Yeah.
Cool. Um, Congratulations with the release of Grimm, and I love the album very much, and I wrote also a review about it, and I hope you read it already. But I was curious what the reactions were so far from the press or the fans, or because it's a really good album. So yeah, I was curious about the rest of the reactions.
I think that mostly it has been really, really good. It has been, but I think that every time we get lots of these good reviews, but there's always this kind of the dark side of,
Mhm.
some people really don't like it at all. But that's good thing. I think that we are not on the safe zone, so it kind of like okay, but it doesn't stick anywhere. So it's a good thing that people have opinions, good and bad. So I think then we have hit the mark,
Mhm.
But of course, I'm really happy that people are loving this album because I love this album a lot. I love this new sound, and it feels so fresh to me, and everything that we have made on this. I've I've come really far with my songwriting, and that's why it's more personal than it has ever been. So for this album, I wrote like almost all the songs. There's only a few parts and everything that I co-write it with our producer, and of course he's the one who kind of polishes up everything so that we can put them on the album. But still, it feels really personal.
Okay. And did the coronavirus had any affection on the release of the album, or Was it just went as planned?
We were lucky in that way that our album was already recorded last year, and the mastering session was just before New Year's, and in that way we were safe with that. So we didn't need to figure out how to, do everything. But in our case, it didn't affect these recordings, but there was a little bit danger in that way that we couldn't have shot our music videos because the southern Finland was in lockdown and we couldn't move from here to other cities. So in that way, it was impossible for us to go to Estonia, where we first planned to shoot these videos.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the second partner in Finland, in Tampere, and there was a 1 week window. Everything opened on 1 week before this scheduled session, and we were really lucky in that way too, so that we could do something at least. Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's clear that you are a very creative person. We see that on Facebook. And I was wondering where the inspiration came from the album. Is it like based on personal situations, or is it just your imagination all over?
Everything is basically my imagination, but of course, because I'm writing about these women like Dark Sarah, and now Luna, and I'm kind of acting the role. Of course, every role that I kind of write has something related to me, and of course, I draw a lot of there's a lot of things that I've experienced in my life, even though it's purely fictional. But still, of course, there's always something. But maybe for this album, there's even more fiction on this than ever before. Yeah, it's a pure fairy tale, I would say, a dark fairy tale.
Okay, cool. You had a new guest on the album, Jessa. I was curious where you know him from and how you started working together on the album.
I saw him on TV last year. I was watching Voice of Finland, and there has been many these seasons. There has been some metal singers too, and he was really good. And I thought that he could be the one that I've been searching for, this role of Mörk, this monster, because I needed a man voice who could sing also clean vocals but also growl, and that's not a really common, thing. Not
No.
everyone sings so well, also clean, and I was like, it would be really nice thing to have not so a less known person for this album, because I think it's also a good thing to kind of give opportunities to new people. So I contacted him via Facebook. I didn't know him personally before, and I asked him straight if I'm writing a new album and I need this kind of monster called Mörk, and would he be interested in singing his part? And he was like, "Oh my God, of course, yes, really nice." And I was like, "Okay."
No question about it. Yes.
For some reason, many of these things has happened like this, so it's kind of meant to be. So of course, there are people I've asked sometimes, and they are like, okay, but this costs like 15,000 euros. Then okay,
Okay.
yes, it's like a little bit too much for my budget. But of course, now, but mostly people have been really happy to contribute their voices for this project. Yes.
Well, yes, I loved his voice also very much because I was like, okay, this person can really sing and he can really growl and scream, and was like, okay, this is a really good thing going on, and yeah, it's puts an extra layer in the album.
Yes, I think so. You always need to have these contrasts,
Yeah.
and with this new voice, I think that I didn't want to do anything like similar to JP's, because I want them to be different characters and always be different. So JP has his own style and his own, and I don't want to, give other characters the same position. Yeah. So you can really know that this is a different person. So that's also important when you are creating these roles that are only sung, not played. Yeah.
And how was it to work with GP again? Because he had also a guest role as Wolf, just a small part this time. So I was curious how it was to work with him again, because you worked in the previous 3 albums with him, I guess. Previous 2?
The last one was when he was part of our band, the official lineup. But on the puzzle album, he was the guest there.
Yeah.
And yes, he's a really great guy, and I love him, and it's always great to work with him. And so even though we knew that we couldn't continue like this double role together, because he's creating his own career here in Finland, and it's his career is starting like, so we knew that it wouldn't work in the future doing this, in this combo, but we still wanted to do something, and I wanted to give him a part on this album too. And it was because I wanted there won't be any dragon on this album, so I've created he also for him a new character here. But but you will learn when you listen to the album and also read the storybook, you can see that they are connected. Yeah.
Okay, cool. For this, not only for this album, but the previous ones, there were also the written chronicles. So there's a concept there. So I was wondering, where did the idea come from to combine these two? Because it works perfectly. You have the songs, but sometimes it's hard to understand the story. So when you read the chronicles, then you have the whole story together. So I find it a perfect idea to combine those. So I was wondering, where did the idea started and came from?
Yeah, it's purely because of what you just said. It's really hard to write a complete story with just lyrics, because they're always, a chorus needs to be a chorus that is always sang in different ways, and so you have only these few lines where you can tell a complete story. And I thought that I couldn't do that without having this proper storybook, or at least some kind of novel, what I've had for the chronicles. And now I wanted to do something differently, not writing the novel style, because I always write in English, and that's not my native language, and it's a little bit restrictive sometimes. But I've been writing poems for all my life, and poems are really close to writing lyrics. So in that way, I wanted to kind of give it a little bit more depth to the lyric writing with these poems. So they are like in between the songs are these different lyrics. And that's why it's written in the poetry style. And I think it became really nice, actually. Yes, it's really artsy.
Yes, but you write the chronicles and the lyrics all by yourself, or is it there's somebody others involved, or?
Sometimes I use kind of some lines from demos, if they are like giving me some kind of inspiration. And that in that way there can be different persons, because I want to give them the credit for creating some lines. But mostly I write everything on my own.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, but for especially for these all the chronicles and poetry books and everything. That's my completely my own. But sometimes I use some kind of lines from Mikko or nowadays there are not other composers, but in my history there has been quite many different composers, and of course when people compose and send their work to me, there always needs to be the lines that are sang, and sometimes they work as an inspiration have been working as an inspiration, and that's why there's a lot of people in the history when you look at the credits for songs who have been working there. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, it seems a very busy thing to do because there's a lot going on then. But yeah, okay, it works fine. And yeah, what comes first then, the Chronicles or the album, or is it something that works together?
Yeah, it's something that works together quite a lot. I start actually with, which is kind of a weird thing. I start from pictures. I never start from music or writing. I start with pictures, and I have the title of the next album always first, and it's something that is given to me. It kind of pops up in my head. What's the next title of the next album? And then I started kind of mind mapping from there. So of course I knew, now that I'm writing these kind of continuing stories, always I need to know where the next part is going when I end the other album. So in that way I always have some kind of idea where this is going to, and then I start building up the concept from pictures. I have the idea and the mood and everything, and then I go to Pinterest and I start searching for different kind of pictures that it's kind of the mind map, like visual mind map for my story, and that's how I start. And then I start writing music and the synopsis of the story. So I have a short plot for the next album ready, and then I start writing music. But I never want to start writing the final lyrics until the last point, because I also need to build up the track list for an album so that it works musically too. So in that way, if I glued different songs already to different parts of the story, it would be really hard to kind of switch.
Yeah.
That's why. So that, and also the final story comes right after the music, when I know that if this certain songs don't work, for the story, I need to change the story.
Yeah.
Yes, it's quite a palette, and it's quite tricky, and it's almost like math.
Yes. And it sounds very difficult also when you notice that a song don't work in a certain place in the track list, and you have to, like you said, rewrite the story. It's a lot more work. Yeah.
Yes, and exactly, because it's something that you get. If I would have already written the final lyrics there, it's something that when I'm writing lyrics, it's really, really hard to change them after I've written them, because they are always in my head when I start rewriting. And I've noticed that it's better that I leave them until the last point, because it's much easier to create something new than to change something.
I can imagine, yes.
Yeah, so that's the reason, yeah.
Okay. The Dark Sarah albums are like small musicals. I love to listen them just with my headphones on, just chilling on the couch and just let the imagination flow. So do you have the dream or ambition to actually make a musical in theaters with a Dark Sarah concept?
It would be lovely. It would actually, I would love to do that, and I would love to make a movie or a short movie or something like that, or a musical play for scene, like the scene, not in theater. So it would be something, or maybe something this cartoon style. Well, use something like that. It would be great, but I would need Tim Burton.
You're a big fan, I guess.
Yes, I've never had idols in my, youth, so he's maybe my grown-up idol. Yeah, I love his dark humor. Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed.
Never stop dreaming.
Dream big. Yes, never
Yeah.
stop dreaming. I have some personal questions because I love to ask some personal questions. But if they are too hard to answer, please don't.
Okay.
But I hope they are fun for you. um, what do you love most to do when you have some free time?
I love doing gardening, and I have wild hedgehogs in my garden, and
Okay.
I feed them every evening. And that's one part of my gardening hobby. So that I love them, these little fur balls coming to my garden in the evening, and then there's lots of them, like 8 of them coming, and they come with clock. They're always there at 8, and yes, it's they are waiting for their meals. Yes, but that's one hobby. But of course, now I 1 year ago I started making jewelry,
Yeah.
and because I never want to do anything like just a little. I always Yes, I always take everything so seriously. So this time I wanted to start making jewelry from scratch, so that I have base metal, and then I saw, and then I solder, and yeah, so I've been doing that, and unfortunately I haven't had much time to do that for many months. But now that I'm actually really waiting for the fall, and I hope that I will have more time to put into that hobby too. So yeah, maybe these are the really what I do mostly at the moment with my spare time.
Okay. I'm curious. If you may compare yourself with a local Finnish dish,
Mhm.
what would it be and why?
Can it be some? Does it need to be like supper or just like anything?
Anything.
I would say Karelian pie,
Mm-hmm.
which has rye bread outside,
Mm-hmm.
and there's rice porridge inside, and it's made to look like a boat, and then you put them in a really hot oven, so that it's almost like really dark brown, and then you put them into milk and some butter, and it becomes a little bit more soft again. And then we do this kind of egg butter, so there's boiled eggs and then butter and salt, and you put everything like into mash, and you put that on the Karelian pie. I would say that's really yummy. Not something that I would eat every day, but that's something, and really Finnish too.
Really Finnish. Okay.
One thing I could say for foreigners, what is also really Finnish is kalakukko, fish,
Okay.
fish pie that is made to look like a rye bread. This round bread. It's not made in a pot, but it's really like this. And inside you put really small fishes. Yes, from lakes, but that you can get like everything, really small ones, and you put them into the pastry, and you put it into the oven, and then you eat it with butter.
Mm.
Yeah.
A lot of fish going on.
Yes.
Okay. Um, all Dark Sarah albums have some fairy tale things going on. So, do you believe in fairy tales yourself?
I do. I do. I think that I've always felt there is something else than just this normal day, normal life. And like on this album, there's this certain line there, it in Mörk actually. So we want to believe into something, we want to have these dreams that no one can take away from us, because it makes our lives much more, how do you say? yeah, it's much more not so gray and dull. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's how I feel. And even though some people could say that it's really naive for an adult to, you know, read storybooks or write this kind of, I think it's just my mindset. I can't do to change it. So in that way, it's something that I believe in. Yes, and especially at this time when everything is really dark, we only see dark news everywhere. How many deaths and how many are sick and everything like that, and the nature is dying and everything like that. So we need an escape from this
Mhm.
world sometimes, and I think that stories are one place to escape this world too.
Just to give a little bit glitter and sparkle.
Yeah.
Okay. Which song do you love the most to sing in the shower, if you have a shower?
I actually practice in shower.
Oh, really?
So it can be almost anything. And I love the thing that when I wake up in the morning and I have, you know, I have to sing during the day and I start the, you know, trying my vocal cords.
Yeah.
What's happening there? What kind of day do you have there? And you know, warming up and it's humid and there's lovely acoustics in the shower. So it's a good place to kind of I personally need this kind of you know, closed up space where I can just be with myself, and it's different from going to my singing studio and start practicing with piano, but that's just, you know, just a moment for me and my voice. So it can be almost anything that I need to rehearse that day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, it's almost time, so we are going to finish this interview. And are there any last things you want to share with our readers? Because this is going to be a written interview. So, is there anything you want to share with us?
Well, I hope that you like the album. This is something that I could ask people like my album. But of course, it's yeah. I hope that they get to know Doxa's earlier production, that these albums too, and read the story. And for the fans who really love digging into the, you know, getting everything out from these stories, there's lots of different layers. You know, when you start, you know, repeating and repeating, you start, and if you Google, do a lot of Googling if you want, because they are based on many different. You can find layers. There are lots of things written inside the story too. So you, yeah.
Cool. Well, I love the album, like I said. So I spread the word even with my neighbors. So I really started it quickly. So thanks again for this interview, and I hope you liked it as much as I did.
Yeah.
And I want to wish you lots of luck with the future with next albums, and I'm looking forward to that. And curious what comes next.
Ooh.
Okay. Do you mind to make a picture, final picture of us together, which I can use in my interview?
Sure. I just check if I haven't put makeup a lot of this today, so
Well,
I
I
just
did neither, so.
yes. Okay, let's do that.
Okay, I will do this here. Bye. Thank you, and good luck with the next interviews.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Have a nice weekend.
For you too. Bye.
Bye bye.